Welcome to the Prepped and Polished podcast, the podcast that empowers you to take control of your education. Featuring weekly interviews with influencers in the world of education, as well as tutoring tips, lessons, and updates. And now, here's your host, Alexis Avila.
Welcome back to the Prepped and Polished podcast. Make sure you join our community. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Instagram, YouTube. Just type Prepped and Polished. You'll find us. Also go to our site, preppedandpolished.com. Sign up for our monthly newsletter. Have a question during the podcast? Submit your question to radio@preppedandpolished.com. Let's get to today's guest, shall we? Today's guest is Amy Hoff. Amy Hoff is a fitness expert and founder of Hoff Fitness LLC and co-founder of the Fit Kit line of health improvement products. The Fit Kit is your no-excuse workout in a kit. Amy is an expert in the field of fitness with guest appearances on ABC, CBS, NBC, CNBC, Good Morning America. As a fitness expert, Amy has been featured in all the major health magazines such as Shape, Fitness, Women's Health. She's been in the New York Times, Washington Post, Newsweek. On today's episode, Amy will give you her best tips for how college students can best avoid that freshman 15. And she teaches you ways to stay healthy during your college years. Amy, thanks for coming on the Prepped and Polished podcast. How are you today?
I'm awesome. I'm excited to be here. Thanks.
Nice. So what got you into fitness? Were you always fit throughout high school, college?
I was always really active. I come from a family of 7 kids, and we were all very active, so it was kind of in our blood.
Wow.
But then when I got out of high school and went to college and had such a hard time staying in shape, so I had to figure out, plus I went to school in Maine, so it was really cold all winter. But I wanted to move to New York to become an actress, and I didn't want to work in a bar, so I worked in a gym. And so that kind of won out over the acting over the years, and I just found a passion for it, and it was really just in my blood, so it really was just what the career path that kind of chose me, let's say.
Fantastic. So what is the Fit Kit, and what advice did Barbara Corcoran give you from Shark Tank about the Fit Kit?
Well, I developed the Fit Kit because I've been in the fitness industry for over 20 years now, and you know, everyone goes to the gym or they do some exercises at home, but the people who work out at home or travel, they don't really know what to do, or kids in the dorm room, they don't really have too much of a clue of what to do. So I wanted to make the no-excuse workout. So I created the Fit Kit, which is basically total fitness in a kit. It comes with everything that you need for a total body workout. It has bands and tubes and a jump rope and a door attachment that allows you to increase the number of exercises to do, like a cable machine at the gym, if you will. And it weighs less than 2 pounds. It comes in this really cool little sexy case. And it's like a no-brainer workout. There's 250 exercises to show you how to do everything. So it's really no excuses. And so I created it for people who were in college and didn't have any place to work out, or people who travel, or people who are staying at home and don't have a gym membership, that type of thing. So that's why I created it. And it was interesting because everyone kept saying, you should be on Shark Tank, you should be on Shark Tank. And I was very lucky to have had my own personal introduction to Barbara Corcoran. And so when I met with her, you know, we were not asking for money. I was just asking for business advice, because the Fit Kit, along with my corporate consulting and my personal training, my passion is to really help people get healthy and fit. And I didn't really want her money. It was more of just business advice, so I could really make this the best it could be and to help the most people. And, you know, we asked her if she was just as sharky as she is on the Shark Tank. So my business partner, who's also my sister, she's the money girl. So she had me all prepped and ready to answer any questions. But the most important thing that Barbara had said to me, which I took from her, was she thought that the Fit Kit should have little exercise cards, like a little deck of cards in it, rather than have to go online for the exercise library. So we actually just launched that. So now the Fit Kit comes with exercise cards in it. It has about 25 or 30 exercises to kind of get you started. So that makes it really simple, and it shows you exactly how to do everything, what body part you're working. It's got strength, cardio, flexibility, a little bit of balance exercises in there as well. So that's kind of the whole kit and caboodle, if you will.
Hope you sent her a thank you card.
I certainly did.
That's awesome. So the freshman 15's been around for a while. Just was wondering what you thought of that. Like, why do freshmen on average gain weight in college, especially that first year?
Well, pizza and beer, number one. I think people have not seriously, but it's you don't necessarily have a regimented food. There's food all around. You can go to the cafeteria, and most places you can go back for more. It's more of like a buffet style. So there's really no control. Parents aren't putting up a plate of food down on the table. There's a lot more snacking going on, hanging out in rooms with people and nibbling on chips and ordering in pizza. And then, of course, there is that much more alcohol being consumed in a lot of campuses. And so it's just added calories. And then when there isn't movement built into the day, except walking to and from classes, you're much less active. You don't have your after-school sports. You don't have cheerleading. You don't have teams that you're playing on, whether they be organized or not. You're just not as active. So if you couple increased calories with decreased output of calories, meaning sitting around and studying and not really doing much activity, you're going to gain weight. So that tends to be the number one issue. The other thing, too, is that when kids go off to college, and even senior year in high school, kids have a little bit more of freedom, if you will, to eat what they want. It's not necessarily being mandated as to what's being fed to them at home or goes into their lunchbox or being fed at school. So they kind of have more free reign, and they tend to go for the stuff that they couldn't have at home, and at school.
Absolutely.
Which tends to be higher in fat, higher in sugar, higher in calories, unfortunately.
Definitely. What are some ways to avoid the freshman 15? And what are several tips you recommend for college students trying to stay healthy?
Well, it's interesting because I think that it really first comes to have to wanting to do it. And if those kids that are health conscious already going into freshman year, they can combat it a lot easier and have a much more a better awareness. I'm not so worried about those as the kids who are not really aware and just tend to eat socially and drink socially and increasing their weight without really knowing what's happening. And then they wake up, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 2 months into their freshman year, and they've gained some weight. Those are the people that it's more challenging. And so what I always recommend is for parents to try to keep on top of what's going on with them as far as what they're eating and their choices, which is not really that easy to do because you're not with them. But sending them off to school with some strategies, I think, is another really big thing, whether that is to check out the campus to find out what extracurricular activities there are that they can participate in, make sure that the school has a gym that they can utilize. A lot of campuses now do have gyms, but unfortunately what I'm learning is a lot of these schools you have to still buy a membership. So a lot of kids don't want to spend their money on that, so it's another way for the school, I think, to make create higher end fitness facilities. So if a parent can, buy their child a 1-year membership to the gym, that's another thing. A lot of gyms, I'm also finding out on our fitness facilities, have trainers available. And I just have, I was working with a young girl who went off to college, and she was really worried. And I found out that her school had personal trainers, and she, in her 3rd week, she called me and she told me about that. I said, why don't you find a couple of your friends, and the 3 of you can go in and get a personal training session together, so it'll cut down on costs, but it'll motivate you, it'll keep you accountable to each other, which is the other big thing, is find other kids who also want to not gain the freshman 15 and sort of band together and really help each other out and stay active together and find activities to do and to keep each other healthy, especially when eating. Because I know that's what really helped me when I was in college, especially my 2nd semester, because I went home at Christmas and I had gained 10 pounds. And I just went, hey, guys, did this happen to anybody else? You don't really see it when it's happening. It's when you go home and your parents are like, whoa, what happened?
Yeah.
So accountability is another really big thing. And, the other thing that I highly recommend is, and this is for any student even in high school and in college and even adults, to really start tracking what you're eating and what you're doing for activity. And there's so many apps out there that are beneficial.
Oh, nice.
My favorite is MyFitnessPal, and that is so great because they have every food imaginable, even restaurant foods, that you can just plug in. So you can really keep track of what you're eating, and you would really be surprised once you start writing things down how many calories you're taking in. And the other good thing about that is I will tell you is I am on MyFitnessPal. So if anybody wants to friend me, it's Amy Hoff Fitness, and I can see what activity you're doing and sort of give you suggestions. You can friend me, and so it's a nice way for me to interact with people and support. And if you go out and do a 4-mile run, I can see that and just kind of like it and kind of give you encouragement. So that's always a good thing too. And having other friends follow each other so that you have encouragement. Another thing too, I think, is that a lot of campuses now are starting to get involved with charity activities, whether it be walks or runs, whether it be for cancer or Parkinson's or anything like that. They're starting to do them at a lot of universities. And that's something that I think is really great to do for a number of reasons. It gets you active because you've got to go out and train for it, and they usually have training groups that can do that. But also volunteer and help out and help raise funds and awareness. And it sort of is a great social thing, too. So if you're not really that social of a person to go out in your freshman year and meet people, it's another great way to meet people, too.
That's awesome. I'm on MyFitnessPal, so I will be friending you.
Good.
Sweet.
Yay.
What's a good amount of exercise per day or per week for the average college student?
I think it's the same for anybody, and I try to tell people to do try to get in about between an hour and 2 hours a week of cardio.
Okay.
And 2 or 3 sessions of 30 to 45 minutes of strength. Now, that being said, that's really difficult to adhere to. Now, that's what you want to reach for, but the beautiful thing is that there are so many new types of workouts that are starting to happen out there. One of them is my favorite. It's called HIIT, which stands for High Intensity Interval Training. And you can go on my blog, and there's a blog post that kind of explains what it is. But it's basically, I've always been a runner. Let's just use me as an example. And I used to run 6 or 7 miles. And I sometimes don't have time to go out and do an hour and 10 minutes to go for a run. So I started to increase my number of HIIT workouts. So I go out for about 25 to 30 minutes, and I get in almost the same calorie burn and workout as I would doing an hour. And all it is you take minute or two intensity bursts, if you will. So like say you just jog lightly for a minute, and then you sprint all out for 20 to 30 seconds, and then you walk for a minute, you sprint again, so you sort of build up this intensity thrust or burst sprinkled in between cool downs. And that, it really gets the heart working, and it burns a lot of calories. So that's a great way for people who really don't have a lot of time. They can get that in. Even having something in your dorm room or at home, like the Fit Kit or weights that you can actually get in, 15 minutes before you jump in the shower, that all adds up if that's all you have time to do. It's just every little bit adds up. I even tell people do 10 minutes 3 times a day if that's all you have, especially for strength work. So that's one way that they can get
Fantastic. That. And how can we get in touch with you and your products?
Well, you can go to my page. My website for FitKit is fitkit.com, FITKIT. And in there it has the About Amy page, or to go directly to that, it's Amy at HoffFitness.com. But anybody can email me, Amy, it's spelled AMIE, at HoffFitness.com. And I encourage people to certainly reach out. If they have any questions, they can follow me on Twitter. If they go to my website, they can find all my Twitter buttons. I'm pretty active on that, on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, always sharing fitness information. They can also sign up for my newsletter if they want to do that as well. Fitness news and notes.
Super cool. And to the teens listening today, any one piece of advice you can give them before they cross that bridge to college?
Start early. Start now. Just get moving. Okay. I think that I was instilled in me when I was in high school to be healthy, and that
nice.
When you feel healthy, it's very easy to be healthy. when you don't feel well and you don't feel great, you just continue to doing what you know. So the earlier that you can sort of adopt those habits of being active and eating what I call clean, which is as close to the source of the land as possible. So if it's made in a plant, don't eat it. If it's made from a plant, eat it. So that type of thing. If they start making healthy choices, healthy habits early on, that this is what I also tell young people: is every day you have choices. Just make sure you're making the right one. And that's with everything. At every moment you have a choice. Do you want to reach for the Snickers bar, or do you want to reach for the apple with some almond butter? You have a choice, and it's really up to you. And how you feel after you eat whatever it is, or whatever choice you make with whatever that choice is, you have to live with that. And also, going off to college, one of the things that I noticed was my mental clarity was so important. And when I started to party too much and drink a little too much and eat too much of the pizza, I started to feel like crap.
Right.
My brain just didn't function as well, and I just wasn't doing all that great until I stopped, and I came back after my first semester, and I went like, wait a minute, what happened to me? And I got back on that horse of just eating clean and exercising and drinking a lot of water, and just I felt a million times better, emotionally, physically, everything.
Terrific. Before we let you go, Amy, is there anything else you got going on that we can let our listeners know about?
No. I mean, I'm just really, really getting into the corporate market with the Fit Kit, but that doesn't. I don't think that's your market. But it's,
well, the parents.
What's that? The parents.
Yeah.
So the great thing about the Fit Kit is in the corporate market is that people can logo it.
Nice.
So it's a great way to encourage, help, and promote a brand.
Ooh.
We just finalized a deal with the NBA actually. So we're doing a big Fit Kit order for them with their logo on it. I'm
Nice.
all about helping out. So if anybody wants to reach out with any personal questions that they have, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer anything. Follow me on Twitter and ask. On Fridays I do Fitness Q&A Fridays, and you can ask any questions and I'll answer them. So I just want to be able to help as many people as possible. So I'm here for you.
Amy, thanks for coming on the Prepped and Polished podcast. Appreciate your time.
Oh, thank you very much for having me.
And this wraps up our show today with Amy Hoff. Make sure you go to fitkit.com, FITKIT.com, to learn about Amy's amazing products and work keeping America fit. And also make sure you friend Amy on MyFitnessPal app. Her username there is Amy Hoff Fitness. Now make sure you be on the lookout for our next podcast, episode number 75, another tutoring tips episode. Thank you for joining us on the Prepped and Polished podcast. Now go out there and take control of your education.
You've been listening to the Prepped and Polished podcast. For more information, check out preppedandpolished.com. Also, you can follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening. Class dismissed.